Live at 5 from the leader in television news, Gene West, Julie Koenig with On the Job, and Storm Team Weather with Chuck Taylor. This is Kentuckiana's News Channel, WHAS 11.
You are looking at live pictures as fire rages through a distillery in Bardstown, Kentucky. Firefighters from several counties are on the scene battling this blaze. The distillery and 5 warehouses are burning. Now the crews are trying to keep the fire from spreading. I'm Jean West, and that is our top story tonight. We need to bring you up to date. We've been covering this all afternoon since the fire began at about 2:30. I need to give you some information. Now let's go back to the pictures from our Sky 11. As you can see, we're up now again. The fire continues to burn. The firefighters are telling us that they are going to just let this fire burn itself out. Bardstown EMS has told us that one of the owners of the distillery, Mr. Max Shapiro, we are told, has been treated at the scene for emotional stress. Again, one of the owners of the Heaven Hill Distillery, who is Mr. Max Shapiro, on the scene, has been treated by EMS for emotional stress. He apparently is so distraught by seeing this fire that he had to be treated at the scene. We are also told that 2 Boston, Kentucky firefighters have been treated at the scene for smoke inhalation, which is not hard to believe considering the extent of this fire. We understand that we have the fire chief of that area aloft in Sky 11 with our crew. Chief, can you please tell us your name and tell us what's going on here now?
Yes, I am Gary Hutchins. I'm a firefighter. I'm not the fire chief,
okay,
but I'm reporting directly to the chief from what we see here now. We started about 3 hours ago with one warehouse. Upon arrival, it was fully involved and flames were already exiting the roof of the building. Within 15 minutes of arrival, that building was collapsing to the ground. At the same time, we were dealing with a low water supply and high winds, and this building actually disintegrated. You can find large pieces of metal just scattered all over the grounds that they carried the embers over to the adjoining warehouses, which only had tar roofs on them, and of course they ignited right away too. And about that time we lost our water supply, so we had to go into a retreat mode. And at the same time, the product that's stored in the warehouses, aging bourbon, released as the buildings collapsed and has drained off from this high ground and went down towards the actual distillery building itself.
Now, sir, as we're looking at what you're seeing, actually, we see ribbons of fire. Would that be the bourbon that is escaping the areas?
Yes, that is the runoff of the product from the warehouses, and this will probably continue for several hours.
Okay, continue. Now, would water have helped you put out this fire?
More water would have helped us to protect the other warehouses if we did not have the high wind.
I see.
There was no way that we could position any equipment, even with any amount of water, due to the high wind, because you had to get downwind to be able to get your stream down to the flames.
Now, so far, what is the damage, as you can see? Has the distillery also been aflame?
Well, if you can look on your cameras, over towards the background, there's one fire there by itself, a warehouse next to it. To the right of that is the distillery building. It's smoldering now. That was a construction of concrete block and brick. There was some old timber parts to it, but it seems that that has about burned itself out now. I would say the distillery itself is pretty much a total loss at this point.
All right.
And of course the warehouses, which now we've gotten a 6th one on fire, and it will probably have to go down too.
You are with which fire department, sir?
I'm with Bardstown Fire Department.
Bardstown Fire Department. We understand 2 of the firefighters from the Boston district have been treated for smoke inhalation. Are they okay?
Yes, that's correct. We've got the reports back. Those guys are doing okay. They're treated. They probably will be released shortly.
What about the surrounding area, sir? Are there homes near the area? Have they been evacuated?
There are some homes across the highway from the burning warehouses. We were concerned for them a short time due to the high winds, but now the winds seem to be calming down a bit, and I don't believe we have to worry about them. Our concern now would be the product that is running off is still aflame that may get into the woods and may spread in other directions from there. But
we understand that there is a creek nearby that may also be on fire from the runoff.
Portions of the creek are on fire. There is a bridge, I noticed, that crosses the creek. That bridge is on fire, so if we have any equipment to go back there, we'll be stopped at that point. But there are several places to reach that creek. It goes down to the Beach Fork River, and we would be able to reach it at that point.
What is your sense, sir, of how this is going to work itself out? Is there a feeling of helplessness for you? You said you're going to have to burn this, let it burn itself out. Do you have any idea how long that's going to take?
We'll probably still be here in the morning. There will still be product burning for probably at least 18 to 24 hours is a guesstimate. It's been a long time since we've seen a warehouse burn around here, and we've never had one of this magnitude, though.
All right. We understand that what you need or in need of is foam to help put out this fire that is involving the alcohol. Are you going to be trying to get some of that substance from the Louisville Fire Department or any of the surrounding fire departments here, sir?
I'm sure that our command is working on that. I don't know what success we're going to have on that, but when we do put foam on it, it's going to have to burn down a whole lot more. This fire is so hot that you can get burned 300 yards away. You cannot put equipment or personnel up much closer to any one of these warehouses than 300 yards, or they're going to suffer injuries very shortly.
Okay, we have gotten some information that a woman says that she's seen fire in the river, which is 3 miles or so east of the plant. Is there a danger for areas that could be that far away from where this is happening?
There is a possibility. I'm looking over to my right now, and I do see some smoldering brush along a creek that's going to feed into the river. Once we get to the river, it will probably dilute enough where the hazard will disappear. Also, we have a local farmer who has a lake up above this creek who is going to release some water down too to further dilute this. We're hoping that will take care of any fire potential down the creek. So
the folks at home can understand the chemical composition of alcohol when it burns, it actually fire doesn't put it out. Is that correct? It actually dilutes it, thins it out, and in some cases can make it even worse?
Oh, you can get nearly an explosive reaction by putting a heavy stream of water on burning alcohol.
All right. How many firefighters do you have out there, sir, working this fire?
I would say we probably have 150 firefighters out here now. I haven't been able to get around to see all of them, but we have firefighters from all of Nelson County. We have Fern Creek, Okolona. There may be more fire units here staged back at our main station that I'm not aware of, but we sure do appreciate seeing these guys coming. It's a blessing to see them come for us.
All right, and what are your needs at this point besides the foam?
Well, just to try to stand up to it, we've drawn our line where we're going to keep it contained, and so far we're holding that. Of course, the longer the fire burns, the intensity is also going down too. So, barring any foreseen circumstances, we should be able to contain it at this point and hope that our manpower holds up.
All right, now we've had some calls too from folks who work at the plant and second and third shifts. Any word to them? We can assume that, of course, they won't need to come into work, but is there anything that they can do there at the scene? Anything you want to say to them?
I'm sorry, there's nothing they can do. They should listen to the your station and other stations, the local radio stations. As soon as something can be determined, the information will be given out by means of the media.
All right, sir. We're talking with Gary Hutchins of the Bardstown Fire Department. In case you're just joining us, we are looking at a huge fire at the Heaven Hill Distillery in Bardstown. It's off of State Road 49. Mr. Hutchins, if you just stand by for a minute, we're not done with you. We'd like to continue talking with you. We see now that water is being put on the buildings nearby. Can you tell, sir, from where you are, if there are any embers in the other buildings? Do they seem to be okay at the time, or are there any others in danger of alighting?
Well, with the wind direction now, the fire is blowing away from the other warehouses that may contain any product. I don't see any visible embers at this point, and we're just trying to keep the sides of the building cooled down so we don't have an additional fire by way of convection of the flame through the air. The intense heat will set a building on fire at a distance with a fire of this magnitude.
Now, you are in our Sky 11, sir, to do a survey of the scene. What is it that you look for when you're surveying a fire like this?
At this point, as I said, was concerned with the burn-off. The most recent warehouse that is lit up, there is a wooded area behind that. We already have units staged over there should we have to set up another line of defense, but it really looks like the wind is blowing towards the direction of the highway, more or less away from that wooded area, and we're hoping that the wind will stay in this direction at this time.
Toward which highway is that, sir? Would that be State Road 49 or
That's correct.
Okay. Would you advise, have they stopped traffic along that area that you can tell?
Yes, traffic has been closed down since the inception of this operation due to the number of units that we have staged in this area. People are not cut off. There are other ways to get around, and we advise all people to stay away from the fire scene. We do have a lot of units going back and forth. We need to move our personnel in and out so they can rehab. So if all people would just stay away from the fire scene, they could really help us out a lot.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Again, we're talking with Gary Hutchins, who's with the Bardstown Fire Department. You're looking at a huge fire, 5 warehouses and a portion of the distillery on fire, completely destroyed. The fire has caused some runoff of bourbon, which is also on fire. You can see the ribbons of fire moving in between the mounds, if you will. The mounds are what were left, what is left of the warehouses. There are also some reports that a nearby creek is on fire because that bourbon, which is on fire, is running into the creek, and a bridge that crosses that creek is also on fire. We have had a call indicating that as far as 3 miles away, that fire has been spotted in the river. That is one of the concerns that the firefighters are worried about at this moment, is just containing the fire. Mr. Hutchins, what are your fire crews on the ground doing now, other than just kind of waiting? They're just trying to wet down the other areas, is that correct?
This is Bob, your pilot. He's on the air with his chief on the ground coordinating efforts at this time, and we'll get him back with you very shortly.
All right, Bob, let's talk to you for a moment. We sent you guys up there, and we got word that you could see these flames from as far as, what, 23 miles out?
That's correct. We were 23 miles out when we first saw them out on the horizon, and it was raining fairly poor visibility at the time, but we could see them. It was quite a fire.
Has it changed much since you've been there almost, or a little over an hour? Do the flames seem to have died down a bit, or are they about the same?
The flames seem to have died down on the warehouses. They're almost down now, but there's a fresh one that's just started across probably the top of your screen there, and it's about like it was when we first got here.
All right. And what other activity can you see on the ground, Bob?
Well, just the firemen trying to contain that one building that's over on the east end. They're putting the water on it, and they seem to be doing that. Other than that, they just, I can't really tell much.
All right. Okay, you're back. We had a little trouble with you for a moment there, Bob, but you're back. Again, we need to mention that there have been 3 injuries so far that we know of. 2 firefighters from the Boston district have been treated at the scene for smoke inhalation. They apparently are okay. And a really sad fact, one of the owners of the distillery, Mr. Mac Shapiro, we are told, was treated at the scene for emotional distress, and you can just imagine how that is. Again, this is a fire in the warehouses at the Heaven Hill Distillery. As you can see, there is not much left at all of this complex, other than the few buildings that the firefighters are trying to keep soaked so that they won't catch on fire. We're going to be covering this, of course, throughout the evening. We're going to take a short break, and we'll come right back.